What is going on, everybody? Lamont at large. Today I am in downtown Los Angeles. Across the street from me, that very condo tower is where one Los Angeles-based model was brutally murdered. We're gonna talk about this crime. Let's get right into it. Melissa Mooney, according to her Instagram, describes herself as a full-time realtor, a part-time model, and a part-time art dealer. Now, Melissa comes from a Guyanese family, and families from Guyana are going to be close-knit, especially when they live in different countries. And it was unlike Melissa to not answer her phone or to answer back to text messages when her family would ring her. So on September 6th of 2023, the family had called Los Angeles Police Department to conduct a welfare check on Melissa's apartment because, like I said, it was unlike her to not answer her phone. LAPD comes to the tower, they go to apartment 520, they knock on the door, nobody answers. Okay, well, maybe she had too much to drink, maybe she's sleeping, maybe she went with her boyfriend somewhere. Who knows? So they leave. So the family, again, calls the police a few days later, and they said, listen, she's not answering her phone, she's not answering text messages, and this is unlike her. There's something seriously wrong. Can you please go to her apartment and see what's going on? So on the 12th of September, they come back to this building and they contact the manager and they said, hey, family's calling. They're very concerned. We need to make entry into the apartment. Manager goes with them up to the 5th floor, opens the door, and when they step inside, they smell an odd smell, let's just say that, an odd smell. And more than likely, part of it came from some food that was in grocery bags that had been sitting out for, it looks like a week now. It was a kind of a rotten smell. It was food that should be put away in the refrigerator. So as police go to the fridge, they open it up and they see Melissa in the refrigerator. She's wrapped in plastic and she is dead. There's blood in the refrigerator. There's blood in and around the wall surrounding the refrigerator. And it looks like her wrists are bound. Now, immediately they call homicide and they come out here to conduct an investigation that really looks like this is really a homicide. So they take her body not very far from here to the Los Angeles County Coroner's office to conduct an autopsy. So the autopsy report says that her wrists and ankles were bound and the bindings were tied to each other behind her back with miscellaneous electronic cords and clothing items. And additionally, her clothing items were found wrapped around her neck and her face, and she had an apparent gag in her mouth. And also the toxicology report indicates that she had cocaine in her system. They put down that the cause of her death was homicidal violence. She had been beaten about in the face, and I believe she was also stabbed too. However, the autopsy report was kind of weird. They were unable to determine the exact cause of her injuries, whether she was choked to death or she was beaten. I don't think there was any stab wounds. I might be confusing this with another crime that I'm going to be doing a story on in the very near future. But basically, they don't know if she suffered her death from either strangulation or blunt force trauma. Now, like I said earlier, at the time of her murder, she was working as a realtor. Now, her family says in online interviews that she was 2 months pregnant at the time. However, I don't see anything in the autopsy report that indicates whether she was pregnant or not. Now, there is, of course, a person of interest. This crime, as the recording of this video, is unsolved. There is video of Melissa on September 6th, which would be the last known day that she was alive, going upstairs to her apartment. And I believe either the very next day or on the same day, there's a video of a man using her key fob to enter, and I'm gonna say I believe it's the elevator to go upstairs. Now, the family's saying that she was pregnant. So I'm assuming she has a boyfriend and or a husband, but I don't believe he is suspected. But then again, the LAPD is very, very tight-lipped about this case. So I don't think they're gonna say a whole lot about what's going on. But this murder, as the recording of this video, has gone unsolved for about 4 or 5 months now. And this murder had nothing to do with another model who lived somewhere in the area, who this story kind of went viral because there was another model who was found dead in her apartment, but that ended up being a drug overdose. So the deaths are definitely not related at all. And coincidentally enough, the sister of Melissa is a Guyanese, hopefully I'm saying that word correctly, Guyanese pop star. Her name is Jordan Pauline. And I never heard of her, but I definitely have now. So the condition of the body was so bad that the family had to have a closed casket funeral, because even according to Melissa's sister, at the funeral home, that I guess the people responsible for embalming her, the morticians, one of them came out and started crying. Just because they told the family they wouldn't want to see her in that condition because the body was in very, very, very bad shape. Now, you have these high-rise condo apartment towers here in downtown LA, and you think for the most part when people live in them, because the rent there, well, it is a lot of money, and you would think that you would be safe. There's a lot of security. You can't just walk in and out of this place. So, of course, whoever murdered her obviously had some form or another of a relationship with her. And it doesn't take much of a detective to say that she definitely knew her killer. That is for sure. Melissa, at the time of her death, had barely just moved into this building in August, and she wasn't even living there a month. As a matter of fact, she was still moving things from her other place over here to her new place at the time that she was killed. Now, she, like I said earlier, she was found in the refrigerator, so that's going to slow decomposition. So I'm not really sure if the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office has an exact death date or not. But like I said, they do have a person of interest, and I'm pretty sure they know who he is, and they're actively looking for him.
An arrest has been made in connection with the murder of a model at a downtown LA high-rise.
Her body was found inside of her apartment last September. KTLA's Annie Rose Ramos is live in downtown LA with more details. Annie Rose, good morning.
Megan and Chris, good morning to you both. I want to take you back to 5 months ago. That is when 31-year-old Melissa Mooney was found killed inside of her apartment. Her body found stuffed into her own refrigerator inside her apartment in the building complex you're looking at right now. Well, now an arrest has been made of a man in connection with her murder. We spoke to Melissa's family a few months ago, who told us back in September, when they hadn't heard from her in days, they just knew something was wrong.
We just knew something was off, like her messages wasn't delivering and stuff.
The LAPD announcing 41-year-old Magnus Daniel Humphrey was arrested on suspicion of killing Melissa Mooney. Humphrey was on probation for federal narcotic offenses. The Associated Press now reporting he was taken into custody at his home in Minneapolis on an unrelated federal warrant. And when the LA County DA's office filed murder charges against him, he agreed to be extradited back here to California to face the charges of the slaying of Melissa Mooney, a model and real estate agent. Now, according to an autopsy report, on September 12th, 31-year-old Mooney, who was 2 months pregnant at the time, was found brutally beaten, bound and stuffed inside the refrigerator at her LA apartment at a bloody crime scene. The report saying her arms and legs had been bound and Mooney had blunt force trauma injuries to her neck, torso, and arms. The coroner says Mooney was last seen alive on security video at her apartment here in downtown LA on September 6th. Now, court records indicate, and this is important, that the suspect, who is now in custody, now being extradited back here to LA, is being charged with murder and torture. But Megan and Chris, this is a specific type of murder charge. It is called murder during the commission of torture. And experts say that is to signify just how violent and brutal this murder was. Reporting live in downtown LA, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.